Cheetah and Zebra and Prince. Oh my, we have a brand new episode of Project Runway, Season 17, Episode 3, and we're about to dive into all those crazy prints right after this.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, After Buzzers? We're back for another week of Project Runway, Season 17, Episode 3. And guess what? We have a brand new co-host. This is Simone, everybody.
Hi, guys. I'm so happy to be doing this show with my lovely co-host and to be talking to you guys. So it's going to be a really fun show.
And just to reintroduce myself, I'm Jessica O'Connor. So should we just dive right in?
Yes, let's go.
Is it about that time?
It's about that time.
All right. So the show opens up with my boy, Keven, and he's really finding his center.
I love that, by the way.
Me too.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of keeping grounded, finding healthy ways to cope with stress.
Especially like in an environment like that where it's so high pressure, you're probably doubting yourself against everybody else.
Oh,
so for
of
them
course.
to like focus on like meditation and just spirituality and how that is an integral part of for someone like him or probably other people on the show, that was beautiful.
Well, especially because he's such a bubbly, happy guy, and then he reveals this deeper layer about his background that he actually just recently lost his brother in a car accident. So that was hard to see.
And I think the thing about this show is I like when they add in those bits and pieces of their backstory because it adds some humanity to it. Even like Sebastian, who is, by the way, talented. We were talking about that, watching him. He just gets me every single time with his details, the precision, and learning that he came here to the United States, didn't really have much and did housekeeping. And then when they found out that he, is still a housekeeper, but he's this beautiful designer, they were just like, what? So, yeah.
I mean, you said it. Yeah. Like, these designers come from all kinds of crazy backgrounds, and that's, of course, what makes this show so unique. But my prediction became correct from last week. I said it was time for an individual challenge, and lo and behold, we have this week's challenge, which was prints from head to toe.
Yes.
So this was a big challenge for a lot of the designers because not only was it one print, but they had to make it editorial. Where did your mind go? If you were in this challenge, what would be your go-to print?
So, my go-to print. Okay, so I kind of identify with, what's her name? She's the minimalist girl. Tessa. So prints kind of scare me too. I love monotone looks or just neutral tones because they're safe, but they're still classy. Whereas prints are very loud and they can go really left or really great, one or the other. So my go-to print, honestly, I probably would be the dude who didn't do that well. He picked plaid because it was so boring. But plaid is so cute. I just think the way he designed it and just that print, they're better looking plaid prints. But plaid would probably be my go-to print because there's so many things you can do with it. And
I feel you.
I wore like uniform all throughout my life, so I feel like nostalgia kind of kicks in a little bit. What about you?
Definitely Cheetah.
Cheetah. Oh, how did I forget about that?
Definitely Cheetah. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's very in right now. That's very Cardi B. That's very Beyonce. And
Ooh, my headphones. Would you ever
keep them on?
I know.
Lock and load them.
Safe. Would you ever do you like zebra?
No.
Okay.
No.
Zebra's a weird print, and this is so random, but when I was like in middle school, I was obsessed with cheetah, but I loved zebra, and I thought it was like cute and funky, and then now I look back on it, and I'm like, it's one of those prints that, to me, normally just doesn't translate.
I feel you. And yeah, Tessa was challenged. She, like you're saying, was leaning towards minimalism, and they only had a $250 budget. They had 15 minutes to sketch and only one day to design. So we were drawn on to a lot of different inspiration this week, but I don't think anybody really could hone in on their looks until they were introduced to the stylist, Marnie Senafonte.
She is goals. I mean...
And if you don't know who Marnie Senafonte is, first of all, what? But she is a celebrity stylist. She's worked with people like Kendall Jenner, Beyonce. She designed all of the outfits for the Lemonade album tour. And if you really think about it, she is the OG trendsetter.
Yeah.
Whatever she decides is cool becomes cool.
Exactly.
Because she's designing people like the Jenners, people like Beyonce, who are some of the most followed people on the whole planet.
I mean, people, like you said, like the Jenners, Kardashians, even though she styles Kendall Jenner, but by association, their family. But whatever they wear, it becomes an instant
Fashion Nova. Yeah,
exactly.
they're known for. So Marnie, honestly, is the one who should be getting pissed because they're ripping off her style.
Marnie's the one you have to thank for
Fashion
all of
Nova.
our affordable pieces, because I wish I could afford Marnie's clothes, but no.
Well, she really highlights the importance of styling.
Yes.
Because there's a big difference between having a really good design and then taking it to that next level with your accessories. And something that I really liked this week was how she kind of gave COVID that inspiration for the gas mask.
Yeah.
Which is something that we see walking down Melrose Avenue all the time. That is actually a trend that's catching on now.
Yeah. Is it actually a trend now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. The gas mask is a thing. Girl, you're on Project Runway. You need to be up on your trends.
I mean, like, I know the trends, but
back me up, guys.
That is
the
one
gas
trend.
Masks are becoming a thing.
Wait, since when?
As well as the crossbody fanny pack.
Oh, yeah. That's been in.
Yeah.
But I haven't really seen the gas. I thought it was only for safety reasons, if you don't want to inhale airborne illnesses.
Oh, no. It's out there, girlfriend.
Okay, I'm going to have to look this up.
It's out there.
But I speaking of COVID and his using the gas mask and all that, because, you know, I'm someone who doesn't really like the prints, but I think his design made me more open to a loud print like that, because his was probably, I think, one of the craziest. Like, what do you think?
We'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Okay. Yeah.
Young grasshopper. We will get there. Let's talk about how they got to the look.
Yeah.
They had to create a story for the look.
Right.
You know, we had a lot of crazy stories, the inspiration to get there. For instance, meeting her man in Spain. And some were saying the story just got crazy from there.
Yeah.
They were saying, oh, she's going to be a drug mule. It's a catfish. Do you think it's important for them to have, you know, this story behind a look? Or do you think sometimes it's just a look's a look?
No, I think having a narrative attached to the actual piece makes it more meaningful, because you pull from inspiration, like real life inspiration, versus just coming up with something out of thin air, which I'm sure you could do, but it makes it that much more exciting, and you put probably more passion into it. And then, I mean, like, if you're about to go and beat your man in Spain, like, that's great inspiration to come up with a cute look, right? What do you think?
Well, yeah. I'm a fan of the story behind the look. I think you can kind of go a little more crazy than just throwing up a look. So, you know, once the designers are kind of getting into their looks, it can bring out some emotions. And Hester, we saw a different side of her today as well. Yeah. Aside from her goofy, quirky, wacky self, she opened up about her self-doubt and how she got kicked out of school, and they told her that she wasn't marketable and she wasn't accessible. And did you relate to her at all in that moment? Like, I know you said you weren't the biggest Hester fan. Was she suddenly more redeemable after sharing that?
Yes, she showed a much softer side of her, which we haven't like seen in the past 2 episodes. And I think it was interesting for her to say that she got kicked out. That, first of all, that's really brave to admit that, because that's not easy. And also, you would think a place like fashion, where you're able to express yourself and be as crazy as you want to be, would be accepting of someone like her. But it's interesting that she still was an outsider, although it's supposed to be a creative space where like anything is game.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And so I like that she was vulnerable, but clearly I think her vulnerability and her true colors worked for her in this episode, as we'll talk about later.
Well, it wasn't an easy challenge this week. I mean, patterns are really, really, really tough to work with, and especially making them look young and hip and cute. That was probably the biggest critique from the judges this week, was it looks too grandma at the resort. It looks very much old lady.
Yeah. Or even, you know what I just thought of? You know, like Hawaiian shirts that like your dad would wear. I feel like, because they were saying that about Afa's outfit, right?
Yes.
And that print
it was kind of grandma at the resort.
Yeah, it gave me like Hawaiian shirt vibes, which actually were in trend last year. They're not like
well, that was the challenge then, because it is on trend,
right?
But he wasn't there.
Yeah, but I think he performed well. I liked it because
he got there.
He did, and he did a really good job with styling his model. I think he really tailored the piece to her curves and flattered her figure, which is something that you would think all designers can do, but we'll see that not all of them can do that when we talk about more people later on. But I think he did a really good job with proving Christian, because Christian had his doubts. He's like, this is kind of grand money.
That's exactly what I was just going to get into. Was I found the contestants were very defensive this episode.
Yeah.
Christian was trying to give a lot of constructive criticism, and instead of taking it in, a lot of the designers were saying, no, and they were standing by their design. Do you think that works to your advantage, or do you think if a judge is giving you a critique, you should probably take it?
It works hand in hand, because Christian is an icon and he's been there before. He was really consistent in his season. So take what he says because he knows what he's talking about. But also the designs are their babies. And sometimes you have to really stick to your guns. And if you have a vision to see that through, because you could truly prove Christian's doubts wrong. I mean, the design isn't fully finished. So he's only commenting on what he's seen. So it's a mix of both. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's an incredible designer, has so much credibility, but also this is your creation.
I feel that, yeah, you got to be protective of your art, but at the same point, respect to authority.
Yeah.
And the ones who are doing it.
Yeah. Because
he's doing it.
They have clout.
And you're trying to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Respect the clout.
Respect your elders.
Come on. My favorite part, though, was when he got sassy with it.
Yeah.
And he kept saying to that guy, he goes, you got a lot to do. And he kept bringing up that point. He's like, he would walk by and be like, a lot to do.
Yeah. No, it is a lot to do.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, not everyone can keep up with the pace of the show. Especially we saw that in Nadine this week. We saw a really big shift in attitude. She was very harsh this episode. Yeah. She was very intense, and it started in the opening scene when she was yelling about the forks and the dishes in the plate, which I feel you. Yes. I hate that too. Hate a dirty kitchen.
Clean up after yourselves,
but
people.
I just think her biggest issue was she didn't go about anything in the right way. Her tone was very aggressive. Just the way she carried herself was very negative this episode. Do you agree?
Yeah, and okay, so I'm Jamaican. My parents are Jamaican, so shout out to Jamaica. And I was just rooting for her based on that. But also, she's a designer, a woman of color. Like, you stand up for yourself and show why you're here. But then she was making the comments about the plus-size model. And then when she was like, I don't even want to be here.
That's taking it a little too far.
Yeah, and maybe she didn't want to be here just because, like she said, it unfolded.
She's a mother,
too, she's a mom.
Which is something I wanted to get into. Do you think that is an element that makes it a little bit harder when she has children to miss at home?
Yeah, she has 4 kids. It doesn't matter how many kids you have, you still miss them. But yeah, like, being away from your children is already hard, and then you're in this competitive environment where you feel like you're being picked apart to pieces all the time.
And she's one of the oldest contestants
there.
That
too. Which I think also is inspiring. And I wish, I don't know how she was feeling.
She should have spun it that way.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nadine. I think personally, you had the opportunity to be a mentor and to be, this motherly figure. And instead you kind of were just like the pissed off mom that like the teenagers were making all this noise and like making a mess in the house,
which can get annoying. Like, let's be real, living in a house with a lot of people, which I've never done, so I can imagine how challenging it is. And when you're around people all the time, people get under your skin.
I lived in a sorority house, so like I've been in her shoes. Yeah, I lived with 50 girls one time.
Wow.
So I get it.
Yeah.
But I also made the best of it.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so much fun. And that's what she could have done. She could have been like, this is so cool. I'm in a house with so many like-minded individuals.
Right.
Let's have a good time. We're on TV. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And instead, she chose to get pissed about forks in a sink.
Right.
I don't know. But
True.
I think we're spending a little too much time on Nadine. So let's move on Do you have anything you want to share with us first, though?
Yeah, so before we go into our next wonderful topic, guys, we just want to keep being the ESPN of TV talk, and we can't do this without your support. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you know what to do. Give us a thumbs up or subscribe. Actually, no, not or. Do both. And then if you're listening to us on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. Your support means the most to us, and AfterBuzz has been really formative for our growth and just communicating with you guys as super fans, and we really appreciate the support. So make sure you tell all your friends about us, and just keep watching. So we appreciate you guys.
All right, now let's dive into the runway challenge. So, like I said, they had to work with all different kinds of print. There was a frenzy at Mood. People went for some plaids. People went for some animal prints. But the challenge really was making it a cohesive head-to-toe look. So that means incorporating, maybe an earring, maybe a headpiece, a hat, a jacket, and of course it has to tie into your shoe as well.
Right.
So I would say that probably the hardest part of this challenge is, like we said, to keep it young, to keep it fresh, and to keep it cohesive, and to execute it in a way that is original and editorial. So no pressure. There was a huge celebrity guest judge, Adam Selman.
Yes.
Who was actually a designer for Rihanna. And he designed the iconic Swarovski crystal see-through dress.
So pretty.
We have a little picture for you guys in case you don't remember, although you definitely should.
Yeah, I don't know how you could forget that.
That is an iconic look.
It was so pretty.
She'll be coming any minute now.
I remember when I saw that and I was just like, does this woman ever not look perfect?
Well, my favorite part about that look is the fact that it was a head-to-toe look.
Mm-hmm.
It tied into the little Swarovski do-rag. I mean, it was not just a dress. That was a look.
Yeah, and it for something that could come off a little, because it's scantily clad, it's a fine line of like trashy but keeping it classy, and it was completely classy but sexy and still revealing but covered up enough where we didn't see her parts,
right?
But when I found out he's the one who did that, I was like, wow, he is talented, because that piece, like her face,
that's a career-making piece.
Oh man, everything.
Did I know who he was by looking at him? No. But when they introduced him and say this is Rihanna's right-hand man, he designed the crystal dress, everyone in the world knows who he is.
Not gonna forget him,
because that was even brought into pop culture. Like there was an episode of Family Guy where Peter Griffin was wearing the Swarovski crystal dress. That just became a career-making look for him.
Yeah.
So
kudos to him.
Kudos to you, Adam Selman. Sure. You did the damn thing. All right. So he was our celebrity guest judge. Yeah. And I guess we should probably talk about our worst look of the night. Who was your worst look of the night?
I think I would say, I think it's Rakan. He had the plaid that I had mentioned earlier, which there's so many interesting patterns for plaid. I mean, there's so many different types of plaid. So that particular print and then how he styled it, it just wasn't, like they said, it wasn't very flattering to the model. And then even he kind of like did some cinching in the back on the leg. I just wasn't really fond of it. I truly think if he had picked a different type of plaid, it would have looked better. But still, the way he designed it just wasn't as meticulous as it should have been. So that just wasn't my favorite, because I love me some plaid. I do. I'm going to have to say my worst for tonight was Garo. And that disappoints me because I think he's a great designer. Yes. I just don't know if this was his best choice in terms of material. I found it really wacky, kind of Cheshire Cat, Alice in Wonderland, circus-esque. It kind of gave me jail vibes. Oh, like when they wear like black and white, old school, but like jailbird outfit, pink and purple instead. I could see that. Yeah, that was definitely my worst look of the night, and I would like your top look of the night. Well, you know who I'm gonna say, Sebastian. Same. He is just, he's so good.
anybody who's been watching the past couple episodes knows that I am the biggest Sebastian fan out there. He is next level. He just delivered
Really
a
talented.
show-stopping look tonight.
And I love how he was like, I have immunity, and of course, I'm safe regardless, but I want to have fun with it, but still be sensible and make something that looks good. And he did that with the whole entire look. And then it, you could take off that piece and then have a whole different look. He knows what he's doing.
The cuts, the waves, the cinches, everything about it was so precise, so well executed. And even Brandon Maxwell, when his look came out, he goes, damn, he knows how to make a garment.
Yes, that is a compliment. That's a huge compliment.
Yeah, so a big thing about this season is, the importance of Instagram and social media, and how it's not just about making a look anymore, but it's about, putting in a look that you can throw onto your social media and people will want to buy it.
Of course.
So, back in the day when you would read the Us Weekly and you would flip to the back pages, you would see the fashion police.
Yes.
But guess what, guys? It's 2019. So we are the caption police.
Love it.
So, ooh, those sound effects that really helped. That hyped me up a bit, right?
Did.
So Hester's look is our victim tonight for the caption police. And if we were running Hester's Instagram account, give me the caption for this look.
So, just because Sex and the City will always be an iconic show forever and ever, and this look is giving us city cosmopolitan vibes mixed with a little bit of Red Riding Hood, I would just say Red Riding Hood in the city.
Ooh,
She's about to take on Manhattan, have her some Cosmos with Carrie Bradshaw. It gives me that type of vibe. You know what I mean?
I absolutely love that. I have a similar Red Riding Hood themed caption. My caption would be, over the river and through the woods to the punk rock show we go.
I love it.
Because those platform shoes are just giving me all the punk rock vibes, that hand on the hip attitude. Even the backpack and the beret, she is just coming for us all.
So cute. I love the top, like the cropped look, but then also the skirt, how it just has different dimensions.
There's a reason that this was the winning piece. There was so much that went into this look, from the garter to the earrings. This is just so well executed.
How creative is that?
And it's so simple.
Exactly.
It's a very simple element that just leveled her look all the way up.
And I would never think of a garter as an outfit piece. I only associate it with
Halloween or costume. Yeah.
Or to be the next bride-to-be if you catch it at a wedding, but never a part of an outfit. And it was sexy, but cute and edgy.
And very editorial.
Yes, exactly.
There is a reason I think that she was the winner, but we also have to talk about the loser, Miss Nadine. Do you think the judges got it right?
I think so. I think humility is such a big part of this show. And when you asked, is it better for the contestants to agree with Christian and change everything, or to stick to their original idea? You have to respect people who've already been there. Clearly, they're in this position for a reason. And the way she spoke to the judges, I think
to her model.
Yeah, and that was so rude.
I mean, I stood up for Nadine last episode. I saw where she was coming from. I tried to stay to stay on her side. But when she, said, oh, my model's bad at walking, this garment looks bad on her, it's not flattering.
Or I didn't want to make her look bigger.
To her face. That's
her standing right there.
As a designer, that's a no-no.
But
that's something that you can't do in that industry, especially when they're trying to be more progressive.
Inclusive. Didn't she say that earlier in the episode, though, that she's used to designing clothes for curvy women?
Yes.
So I was very confused.
I thought maybe because she's a size 12, 14, maybe she's not curvy enough. She's what they call a middle model.
Yeah.
Where you're not petite, but you're not, very plus size. Like 12, 14, that's the average size of a woman in America.
Exactly.
That is actually the average.
Right.
So if you're anything above or below that,
that's not average.
Yeah. So she had a very average body. She was very much, she even called her healthy at one point, which I was like, okay, yeah, that's a nice term. But the way she treated her was Unacceptable.
That was mean. I mean, I almost felt like she was shaming her in front of her face.
Did you see her face? The model had this look of like
a pout, kind of, right?
It just wasn't fair, and it wasn't cool, and
poor thing can't even speak up for herself. She has to sit there silently.
Yeah, and it was not professional.
No.
At the end of the day, it just wasn't professional, and this is a competition where you're shooting to be that next big designer, and if you're going to be that next big designer, you're going to be overseeing a staff.
Yeah.
And is that how you want to conduct your staff? Is that how you want to conduct your brand? I don't know. I think the judges made the right call. I don't even necessarily think that she had the weakest garment, but I think she had the weakest attitude.
I was just going to say her garment didn't look bad compared to others. It was the way she handled herself.
I think Garo's garment was weaker, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think they could pick up on her vibe from a mile away.
Exactly. She doesn't want to be corrected, which is not the show for you. And then also, you can't blame your model for why the outfit does not look right. That's not the model's fault.
You have all the tools in the world to tailor that to her body.
Yeah.
Figure it out. And she's good.
Yeah.
She has the talent. She has the skills. She even stepped in and helped some others sew. I know she had it in her. I just think she mentally was checked out.
Right. Yeah. And
she even said, "I don't care. They can send me home. I'm done."
Which I think also she could
be a defense mechanism.
That's what I was gonna say. She came there for a reason, so clearly she wanted to be there. I think, like you said, it's a defense mechanism, and her feelings were hurt, and she knew she didn't do her best. So when you're upset, you say things you do not mean.
Amen. I'm not going to hold her to that.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, she was in a high-stress situation. She knew she was going down. Sometimes it's easier to say, I don't even care. I don't even want to be here.
Yeah.
To say, like, man, I just blew it.
I really messed up.
That takes a lot.
Everybody shows their emotions differently, because we had... I forget her name, who went home last week. She was Frankie.
Took me a second too.
Yeah, but she's very expressive and she cried a lot. And where someone like a Nadine will say something, but on the inside, it's probably the reverse of how she feels. So I think just the way she expresses herself is different, which I mean, that's you, but I get why she would say something like that. Probably not the best way to say it, but I can see why in that moment it came out that way. She knew she could have done better, because she is talented.
She is, and unfortunately we won't be seeing any more of her. You can find her on the Project Runway Bravo Instagram. There's a story highlight where you can find all of the designers. But do you have any predictions for next week?
Well, we already know Sebastian is
your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Ooh. Sebastian's gonna kill it. I mean, I'm just gonna keep the optimism for him, because he hasn't disappointed me just yet. So for sure, I'm really interested to see if Esther will be able to keep her confidence, because she has immunity, so she should be confident.
That should help.
That should help a lot. So hopefully that'll encourage her to keep up the momentum to make something else that's really good.
Yeah, I predict that Hester's kind of going to be on an upward spiral. I think she's one to watch. Usually, this is just because I watch a lot of reality TV, but usually when a character is getting a lot of camera time, they're pretty vital to the season.
Agreed.
So a lot of the characters getting camera time is Covid's getting a lot of camera time, Sebastian, Hester, and Nadine at one point, but not anymore. So them focusing on those characters, they give Afa a lot of camera time too.
Afa.
So I have a feeling that those four are going to be some key players in this season.
Yeah, because there were some people...
Just because that's how reality TV works.
Because there was a couple people we hardly saw at all, and then I saw their pieces come out.
Yeah, there are those people that come out from the shadows and you're like, where have you been all season? You know, not everybody has that big made-for-TV personality. So, we may be surprised by some people next week. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. We got a whole other week, but we'll be right back here for episode 4. Simone, you want to tell them where they can find you on social media?
Yes, you guys can find me at Simone A. Thomas on all social platforms.
And I'm Jessica O'Connor. You can find me on Instagram at Jessica O'Connor _. And we'll see you next week. Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.
Our founder Keven Undergaro and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.